This episode of Ladder Legacy is proudly sponsored by the Bedford Group Insurance, helping families and businesses protect what matters most. Whether it's coverage for your home, your family, your team, or your future, Bedford's got your back with the best reliable insurance solutions in Florida. Visit our website to learn more, bedfordinsurance.com. And now on to your episode.
Hey everybody, this is Rudy Romero with From Ladder to Legacy. I'm here today with Amy Considine. She is the CEO, the head lady, the boss of Considine Homes here in Palm Beach. She has been a real estate agent for over 14 years, and that says something, let me tell you. Here in the Palm Beaches, she serves Broward, Martin County, Palm Beach County. She serves all the counties that matter, I think. But again, all the area here. Amy, thank you so much for taking the time to come on today. I haven't had any other real estate agents for any reason other than I wanted to have you on first because of the plethora of experience you've had. And I think it would be a great way to start this off, especially with home prices. Apparently there was some stuff, political stuff that went on in New York that's changing the spectrum of homeowners maybe moving to Florida and apparently a mass exodus or something. I know you know all about this stuff because you've been doing it for so long down here. So how are you doing today?
I'm great, Rudy. Thank you so much for having me on. This is exciting.
Awesome. Yeah, no, we're really excited. Again, just so our viewers know, real estate agents, people get a real estate license, they do it for 2 years or so. This is a seasoned veteran who's been selling in the Wellington area, who's been selling in the near the island, again, who has luxury and great experience, first-time built homeowners, all that type of stuff. She knows her stuff, so I'm really excited to have her on today. Amy, tell me a little bit about your version of real estate.
My version of real estate? Well, gosh, that is a really open-ended question.
I tried.
Lord, I don't know even how to answer that. Can you get a little more specific in that question?
I would love to. So when it comes to Considine Homes, how do you approach real estate? Because obviously everybody has a different way to do business. Every real estate agent has a different gimmick, has a different thing. I always find that you're just very authentic person. Again, in your own words, how do you approach real estate here in the Palm Beaches?
I think I could say I approach it heart first. That's really important to me. I 100% live my life in all ways in honesty and integrity, and I carry that into my business, and I know that my clients feel that as well. I just approach it giving 110%. When I started out in this industry, there was a former friend who told me, you don't really have to, give it your all. No, all realtors are half-assed. Don't even worry about it. And when she told me that, it made my blood boil a little. And I thought, I'm going to change people's experience in real estate, and I'm going to give 110% to everybody. And I'm proud to say in my 14 years, I have. I go above and beyond for every single client. And I think every person I've ever worked with, it goes from client to friend to almost family. Like you form a really close bond during the transaction. And, I know that I'm going to see these people in the future. I'm never going to burn a bridge. I'm always going to give exceptional customer service and make sure that they have had the best experience humanly possible. I want it to be fun because it can be very stressful. So I bring the joy into real estate.
Yeah, and that's awesome to hear because I think that's where a lot of people, especially in today's day and age, post-COVID world, which I can't wait to ask about that and how you dealt with that. But in the post-COVID world we live in with real estate, what are some of the challenges you're kind of seeing buyers face in the market here in Florida? In
the market currently, our market, I call it bipolar right now. This has been a really weird year. I mean, post-COVID, when COVID hit, I think everybody in the real estate industry was like, oh my God, we're going to be out of jobs. And then we just had this rush of business. Anything I've seen in my career, it was amazing. We got so much business. And then prices rose and interest rates rose and things have just kind of leveled out. So what we're really just waiting for is a reduction in interest rates. We have buyers just they're behind the gates. They're just waiting for those gates to open. As soon as those rates can drop a little bit, we're actually expecting another push in the market similar to the feels that we got during COVID. We're expecting a very, very busy 2026.
Now, I saw the Fed just dropped interest rates, and I know we're kind of veering off topic a little bit, but let's keep going here. So I heard they dropped interest rates, but I heard mortgage rates went up. Is that true? What would happen? I know you're a mortgage broker, but why would that happen?
That would be a better question for a mortgage broker than for myself. Yes, I'll pass on that one.
Okay, fair enough. So when it comes to dealing with mortgage brokers, how do you typically work with them anyway? Because again, your guys are kind of separate but married. One without the other is nothing, right? So
correct.
how does that look from today's standpoint? Obviously, rates are forever changing and fluctuating, but how do you see the market kind of coming out in the next 6 months? Because again, it's season here now in Florida and people are moving down here. What does that look like from an out standpoint?
There were a lot of questions in that statement. So season is coming. A lot of my clientele, different realtors have different clientele. My clientele is not necessarily seasonal. I focus more on full-time families. I would say that's probably my biggest clientele. So season or not season, in my business, that doesn't really make a big difference for me. And then you had asked something about mortgage brokers and what that relationship looks like. Can you repeat that question?
Sure. So when it comes to working with mortgage brokers, right? Because again, they're a necessary evil and we love them dearly. But with working with mortgage brokers and interest rates, I guess my question is, what kind of information are you being given now on what the next 6 months looks like, right? Because again,
okay.
What are they kind of giving you as an outlook, right? Because you have to tell your buyer something. And
yes, of course.
Right? So what are they kind of giving you outlook-wise right now?
Well, and that is another this, as I said, this last year has felt bipolar because we all thought one thing was going to happen and it didn't. We all thought rates were going to drop during 2025 and they didn't. So we, as a whole, very strongly feel by spring of 2026 that the rates will be dropping. And I have a mortgage broker, Mike Doyle, with a mortgage firm that I work with very closely. So he's always giving me weekly market updates. But I also, through my company, LPT Realty, Considine Homes is under the umbrella of LPT Realty. Every Monday, we have a company-wide Zoom nationwide. And the founder of our company, who is extremely intelligent in the real estate industry, he really is preparing everybody that spring is going to be the boom, where he calls it boomsday preparation.
Boomsday.
We're getting ready for the boom. So that is our expectation, that really by spring, we're expecting a big uptick. And
is that just because of interest rates, or is that because of market fluctuations? What is kind of going into that?
Really, interest rates are the major driving factor.
Okay, so their main driving factor, and there's nothing else kind of driving that right now? Is it home affordability? Is it localities? Is it...
people are expecting that home prices are going to drop insanely, but I don't believe that to be true. I really think that it is going to be interest rates. And then even if home prices were to drop a little bit now, they have dropped, but not this huge drop that people have been anticipating. But as soon as that interest rate dips, we're going to have competition again, and those prices are going to go right back up. Honestly, I tell people right now is an amazing time to buy, because you actually have sellers that are willing to negotiate with you. And as soon as those rates drop and it gets competitive, we're going to get back to multiple offers, and you're going to lose your chance to get a better deal on a house. You can always refinance down the road, but anyways, it's been quiet for now, and I wish more people would listen to that logic, that right now really is a smart time to buy and get great. Go ahead.
Why do you think that is? So people, hearing this mantra of, hey, now is really a great time, what do you think their hesitation is? Is it an issue with timelines? Is it the holidays?
No, I really think it's a lot of buyers have stuck in their heads the interest rates. They're just waiting for that rate to drop so that their monthly payment is lower. But what they're not looking at is they can have a lower interest rate, but maybe pay $50,000 more for a house. Wouldn't it be better to secure the house at a lower rate, lower price point, and then as the rates drop in the next year, refinance, so now you have a lower priced house and a lower price rate?
No, that makes perfect sense. I don't believe in Europe they really care about interest rates, right? I've heard a lot it's all about price, right? Because at the end of the day, what you buy it at is really what matters, because you can always refinance at the end of the day. But again, I understand, I think I got my house at a 2.25 rate. So for me, it's hard. Yeah, one of those people, right? So
yeah,
exactly. So for me, it's hard to be able to, talk about it fairly, because again, I'm not affected like other people are. And
yes,
home pricing has gone up significantly since I purchased back in 2019, right before COVID.
Yeah.
So from a perspective of the market shifting, all right, and I'll try and make it is not too many questions in one answer, or whatever you want to call it here. With the market shifting, and what I mean by market, I mean people coming down here, right? We saw a huge influx during COVID. Do you project or see that that's going to happen again? now coming into the new year? We'll call it the new year, new season, November to March, or is it
Hmm.
just more Floridians looking to relocate within the state? What are you seeing majority of right now?
Currently, as of yesterday, I'm seeing Floridians moving within the state. But, I certainly don't want to get political because my views will only match 50% of the viewers.
Of course,
But
no.
I will say,
Bipartisanly.
what's that?
I said bipartisanly, there have been
Yes.
some things that have transpired in the last 24, 36 hours that may
Yes.
affect
So
things.
I have seen just via social media that I think we could definitely expect another influx of New Yorkers coming to Florida. I think that would be a fair statement.
And I think that's what I'm hearing now on that side as
Hmm.
well. That, again, from New York, dealing with family from up there, their expectations, the ones that are in the city at least, right,
Yeah.
have stated, or at least in the boroughs, the five, have said that there is going to be a lot of people who are the rumbles of the making of, okay, well, I think we're making a transition, whether it be retirees or people who are
Hmm.
younger who are looking to make that transition. Now, do you think Palm Beaches are the place to be? Is it Miami? Is it Tampa? Where do you think these new New Yorkers or the ex-Yorkers are looking to go?
Well, you're getting me in a corner over here.
I try.
But because again, got to keep this not political, but I
No, of
would
course.
say, given the reasoning that people are choosing to leave New York
Yeah.
politically, which is what's happening, I think that people would love to move to Palm Beach County for that alignment.
Yeah, I think again, Palm Beach County is a perfect. I call it the purple county, right? Palm Beach County has typically been very fair and neutrally in the middle, right? There's been a lot of
Hmm.
money here. There's also a lot of people who have different beliefs, and it's great because it's a
Hmm.
very good cultural melting pot. Palm Beach County, right?
Hmm.
Miami,
Hmm.
much more of a Cuban population, Hispanic population, right?
Yeah.
Versus up north where it's more we call it right Jacksonville, Southern Georgia, right? So
Yes.
again, Palm Beach I feel like is a really good mixture of both because you get a lot of funds from New York, people from Wisconsin and the Rust Belt, got a lot of people from Latin America as well who've moved up from Miami. So you get a really
Hmm.
interesting mix of people who have different beliefs that challenge the
Yeah.
housing market, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Yes. Yes. And as a whole, I mean, Palm Beach County really does offer a lot to people that move here. I mean, especially politics aside, if you're coming down from New York, or I mean, I grew up in New Hampshire and then Vermont. Like our weather is amazing, and
live free or die.
yeah, yes, live free or die. I love our slogan, the New Hampshire motto. Our beaches are amazing, and there are activities here, and for families, for singles, for children, our sports teams for kids are fantastic as well. All of our festivals, our events, our concerts, easy access to airports. So there's a lot of positives for moving to Palm Beach County for sure.
Now, were you always in Palm Beach County? You just talked about being in New Hampshire. Was Palm
Hmm.
Beach always your home, or where were you before that?
No, I grew up in New Hampshire. And then in high school, we moved to Vermont. And then after college, I moved actually to the other coast, the Clearwater area. And then a few more moves back to Boston, settling, figuring out what I wanted to do. I would say by my mid 20s, and I'm 50 now, by my mid 20s, I was in Palm Beach County. And I
Okay.
have been there since.
And you've
So
been there
half my
since.
life.
So when you were in Vermont enjoying all the wonderful things that Vermont has to offer in the Northeast,
Yes.
what did you think you were going to do when you were in high school? Was real estate the thing for you, or was there another passion that you had?
Well, yeah, no, it really always was. And that started in actually elementary school. I grew up, my dad was a real estate appraiser, and he worked from the home. He had a home office. So real estate was just, I was born into real estate. And when I was a little girl, my mom would take me to the library, and I would start in like the children's section, but I'd always end up looking at the magazines and Architectural Digest and Builder Floor Plan magazines. And I just always loved everything to do with homes and real estate. I got my degree in interior design, and homes have just always fascinated me. But being a mom always fascinated me even more. That was always my true calling from the time I was probably 2 years old. So I knew that I first wanted to be able to stay home with my children when they were little. I mean, at that point, when I made that decision, I wasn't even close to having children. So needless to say, I was able to do that. And then I launched my real estate career after my children were little. Actually, during a time when I was going through divorce, there was a lot happening, but that is when my real estate career blossomed.
And so what were you doing before real estate? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, well, the years prior, I again was able to stay home with my children, which was wonderful. And honestly, prior to that, I was in the hospitality industry
Oh my
working.
gosh. Okay. Like
Yeah,
hotels or
yeah, restaurants and hotels.
wow.
I worked at the Breakers for many years and then various high-end restaurants as well. And you'll find a lot of people in the real estate industry have that hospitality background. I actually, believe it or not, I was an exceptionally shy child. I mean, I grew up in the country. Like literally you couldn't see any neighbors' homes. It was a very ostracized childhood, so I was very shy. And, spending time in my earlier 20s in the hospitality industry really helped to bring my personality out. So I do give thanks to that industry for that.
Well, I thought it was the real estate industry that got you, but hey, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
interesting to
no,
hear. I had no idea. That's really
yeah.
cool. So making the transition from hospitality to real estate, like what was the one thing? Was there something specific that happened that made you want to make that determination or make that change?
Well, I mean, I knew, again, it was hospitality, and then I had my kids, and I knew I was never going to even want to be in a position where I stayed home when the children weren't little. I wanted to be home when they were little. So as my daughter was 6 and my son was 3, I got my real estate license at that time, and also at the same time ended up going through a divorce. So that really kind of launched my career. It was a difficult time. I had to work I actually had to go back to hospitality for a little bit at that time. And I worked real estate. I waited tables at night. I bartended at Polo on the weekends, and I just really was determined that I had 2 little kids to take care of, and I need to make it work, and I did, and I have ever since.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thank
that
you.
in itself is its own story that I imagine we could talk for hours on.
Yeah, it was rough. It wasn't as smiley as I'm making it appear to be. I've got grit and determination, and if I say I'm going to do something, I do it, and I did.
Yeah. Persevering, being agile, and overcoming, right? That's
for sure.
That's all we can do at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So was LPT working? Was that the first agency you worked with through LPT, or did you have other ones that you were with before?
Oh yeah, no. LPT is actually only 3 years old.
Oh,
wow. Yeah. But we are one of the fastest growing brokerages in history. I think we're already ranked number 10. And that is crazy for a 3-year-old company. But no, I started. It's funny. I had intended to start actually with Illustrated Properties. And somebody told me you should go to the Kai's company. And I was like, I don't really want to, but I'll just go. I'll have like a dummy interview, just kind of get my nerves out. And I ended up falling in love with the broker. He was the sweetest man. Bill Tavernese. I love him very much. And so I ended up working for Kai's for a while, and then he switched offices, and I ended up following to a boutique firm, Realty Elite. And, there had been a few. United Realty Group after that, Keller Williams after that, which is a great company for training. And then now I've landed at LPT, which is a fantastic company. They really provide marketing materials for my clients at an extremely high level. So I feel like I can give more to my clients with this company.
Now, I know real estate agents always, or sometimes they say, there are agencies that are good to start with, and there's some that to end with, right? And again, you've been through of them. So if you were, talking to that younger Amy who was interested in, joining the real estate world, right? Somebody, Amy or Dan or David, whoever we want to talk about, that younger person looking to get into the real estate world, what's a good place for them to go? Because I know not all brokerages are the same.
They are not the same. 1,000,000,000% Keller Williams. I will say that. Their training is unmatched. I had been in the industry, let me count back now, at least 8 or 9 years when I switched to Keller Williams. And I will say their training, if I had started my career in the beginning with their training, I'd be very wealthier now. For sure. Their training is phenomenal. I really was pretty much self-taught. You'd have people in your office that would kind of mentor you, but not the training, like the intense training that you get at Keller Williams. Keller Williams is amazing. And then sometimes when you've been there for a while, you hit a wall where that training becomes exhausting. And, you've taken what you can. And so I'm very grateful for my time there. And I'm very grateful for the position I'm in now.
No, that's amazing. That's great. And what are some other things that would be good for other agents to understand, or younger agents jumping into the world of real estate or becoming realtors? Like, what are things that you can give them, sparks of ideas that can help them get through that path, other than just going on ChatGPT and saying, how can I become the best paid realtor in the world, right? Somebody who's actually done it.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, Chat GPT is my therapist, my advice, I get it. I get it. Real estate is a tricky business. And so the number one thing you need to begin with is you have to have diligence, perseverance. You're not going to start out making a quick dollar at all. I would suggest most people have a second job during their first year in real estate because it takes time. Think about how many realtors we have in Palm Beach County. I mean, we are flooded, we are inundated. So for somebody to choose a brand new agent, it's I don't want to say it in a negative way, but you got to work to make a name for yourself. You've got to really put yourself out there. You need to, as exhausting as it is, create a presence on social media. Can you still hear me? I can't hear you.
Yep, you're good.
Oh, there you are. Okay, you cut out for a minute. So it's you just going into it, you have to know that you're in it for the long haul and you have to do the work. And the work is not necessarily writing contracts and taking buyers out. That's awesome. But before you can get to that part, you have to get to the clients. That is actually where probably 90% of my energy goes in real estate, is actually maintaining client base, maintaining relationships. You have to just keep a continuous funnel or your business dries up, just like any other type of sales.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense. The same thing in insurance or any, like you said, any type of active sales type positions. I'm sure market brokers, same thing, mortgage lenders.
Yeah, absolutely.
That active situation going. And just so you know, I had looked it up while you were talking. It's about 19,900 active agents in Palm Beach County and about 31,000 in the immediate area. So definitely a lot of agents to choose from, a lot of people to work on.
There is, but I'm not scared because a lot of those agents haven't done a single transaction in the last year. Yeah. I wish I had numbers. I don't want to make anything up right now, but if you look up agents that have actually been in production and then have had more than 1 to 3 transactions, the number is very low. And I'll see as I'm working in the industry, it's the same realtors that I'm seeing over and over again. It's the professionals in the area. We're the ones doing the business. I currently am the top agent in my office in LPT.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which, I mean, not nationwide, in our Wellington office.
That's so great, though.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. Yes. And in 2023, I was a top 1% agent in Keller Williams as well, from Vero Beach down to Key West and across to Clearwater. So I feel like humbly I've made my mark, and people know I have a reputation. People know I'm a professional. And so, there could be 100,000 people that, aim to get their real estate license, but it doesn't scare me because I know that the product that I'm offering is top notch, and, people are there to support my business.
Good. And I think that's because of the work you're putting in, right? So again, there might be 19,000 active agents, but there are only one of Amy's, right? So when it comes to the personal touch, what else do you do that's different than other agents out there? I'm sure there's tens of thousands of things you probably do, little even conversations you have or tidbits of information. But if you can summarize it, like say the top 3 big things that you think you do differently is that too many things or not enough things?
That's not enough.
Well, top 10. We'll go top 10. I didn't want to put you on the spot. Say top 10 things that you think you do differently that other agents maybe just don't understand or just don't do because they don't have that years of experience that you do in the market and understanding the game.
Well, and it might not even be years of experience, because some do have years of experience, but it's laziness also that I see. Let me say, there are some excellent agents in our area, and I am very, very lucky that I get to work with a lot of them on the other side of transactions. But there are also a lot of very lazy agents. So I can break it down with a story that I think will highlight the difference between agents. Went on a listing consultation on Friday, and I met this lovely woman. Another agent had her listing and the home didn't sell. And I could feel that this woman was just kind of broken. The other agent left her feeling like her house was worthless and that she wasn't worth the agent's time. And it just made me feel so sad for her. So essentially, agent had her listing for 6 months, ghosted her for most of that time, handed her comps to find her own new reduced price rather than the agent working with her to find an updated price, and then only really came around when it was time to renew the listing. Now, so let's take that as an example of a bad agent. Now, the difference, I come in, we are forming a relationship. We are going to be very close during these next several months. I'm going to get to know you as a person, and I'm going to be available to you. When you call me, when you reach out, I am here. I am with a sunshiny attitude, which is authentic, and I'm available. She said the other agent didn't show up for one showing. I'm the one that's going to be there on a weekly basis. When I have a listing, I do a community analysis so that we're looking at every home that is coming on the market in your community, every home that is under contract, homes that have closed, homes that have expired. Every week, I'm creating a snapshot of what's happening in your community so we know where we're placed. I'm bringing in beautiful professional photography as well. I mean, if you look on the MLS, there's some great photos, and then there's pictures of the realtor in the bathroom mirror snapping a photo. My listings are top notch. My marketing is exceptional between print marketing, online marketing, offering open houses at every possible opportunity. If you want an open house every weekend, I've got you. I'm just really hands-on until the house sells. And I will say, in my 14 years, I have not ever had a home not sell. I've had to renew, I think, 4 listings, but I have never not sold a listing in my career. And that's because I do a good job and I don't give up. And if we can't sell it this way, I'm brainstorming how we sell it this way. And we're getting it done.
Yeah, so you're not being lazy is what you're saying. You work with a sense of urgency and dedication.
Yeah.
Mind-blowing mentality, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, but it's really, and for buyers, it's that same service that, I'll have buyers that have say, oh, we've worked with an agent in the past and we just don't really feel like they were listening to what we actually wanted. And I'm there and I'm just conscious in what I'm doing. And I'm not afraid to also show you, here's what you're saying you want this. What if we look at this? I can't tell you how many homes I've sold just by understanding the people, and they might be saying they want one thing, but I'm understanding them. And then they've bought something that is just a little bit different over here, but it's what they really want. Like, I'm listening, I'm connecting.
Well, you're part, like, almost like their home therapist almost.
Oh,
right?
I always say my job is like at least 75% therapy. Truly.
Yeah,
I'm there to cry with you.
Yeah, you're taking 2 sets of information from mostly 2 different people, and you're trying to combine it into one explanation. And really, that's, I think, the gift, right? The gift is figuring out what people really mean, right? So it's not the words they're saying; it's the context clues they're providing that aren't being said, are probably the biggest thing, right? That helps you drive how to get them in the right spot.
Yeah. And on that same note, talking about 2 people, another area I excel in are actually couples going through divorce. That is a type of transaction that I actually love to be a part of. I think because I have gone through divorce, so I understand the emotional aspect, but I really am a genuine person and I'm not gossipy in any way, shape, or form. I don't like drama. So I'm able to go into that situation, not take sides, even if I know one more than the other. I'm not going to bad talk the other. We're making this a friendly transaction. Even when there's 2 very opposing forces, I'm able to kind of show everybody how to meet in the middle and have a successful and as peaceful as possible transaction. I like peace. I like to bring my clients peace.
Well, I mean, they're moving to Florida, right? Or they're in Florida. This is the Sunshine State, right? So if you're going to buy a house, you might as well be happy about it. There's no better place in the U.S. to buy a home other than the Sunshine State.
Yeah.
Why not be happy?
Yeah.
So obviously this is Florida and we have seasons, but you said, most of your stuff is built on we'll call it people who are here constantly. But how do you stay motivated, or how do you work with the team to stay motivated during the slow seasons? Because I'm sure that's something that other agents are going through, or maybe agents that are coming in who are going to watch this and see, hey, this is a seasoned professional. What are you doing to kind of keep it all alive, keep it exciting, keep it fun?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that, again, if you're going to get into real estate, be prepared to be busy all the time, even if it's not transactionally. So every day, every week, every month that I'm working, you have to almost have the mindset that you're not busy, even if you're slammed, because you have to keep cultivating relationships with people. So even though I do it year round, okay, during a slow time, taking time to meet people for lunches, developing relationships. I like to throw client appreciation events. I do a monthly event called Calm Coloring, Adult Coloring. Anybody in the Palm Beach County area is welcome to attend. And that's just to keep people out, keep community, keep people coming together. You know that I'm on the board for Grandma's Place, a foster care charity, and even I just believe in energy moving forward. So staying active with that during the busy and the slow times. I have my database of, I have a very large database, but maybe 300 people that have given me business or people that have used me or referred me, and just keeping in relationships with those people, seeing how I can offer more. I have a preferred vendors list that I work on, and I'm actually about to send out my next vendors list for my clients, or anybody on my email list. Just seeing how I can. I want to offer more. When there's a slower time, okay, if I'm not showing somebody a house today, what can I create that's going to offer value to people? If you just keep showing up and offering value, people are going to remember you.
No, agreed. And I think that's spot on. I mean, I can't imagine. It's funny, you say it that way, and to us it sounds normal. But to other people, they're sitting here going, oh, really? Is that really the case? Like, people will actually, let's say 25% of the people watching this will probably think that, right? Which, again, not wrong, right, or indifferent, just, their mindset.
Yeah.
Habits and routines. What has helped you build that successful real estate career? Because, again, I firmly believe, and I try and live by every day, is I have certain habits. I don't like routines as much, but I do have specific things I do. Part of it's drinking probably 6 cups of coffee a day. Bad habits, but it is a habit and a routine for me. It's visiting my stores when I can and doing these things. So what are some habits and routines that are good for you, that have worked, that other people may be able to implement, that help them be more successful?
I love that question. Let me start by saying, sadly, due to previous heart issues, I'm not allowed to have caffeine anymore. So I have had to. So this is natural.
That's all natural, Amy. Gosh. Man, I'm so happy you're not on that stuff then, because I can't.
Oh my God, watch out.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
This is just me. I went cold turkey onto decaf, and I was like, after a weekend, I'm like, wow, this is really how I am. But anyways, yes, I think that self-care is the number one thing. I really prioritize grounding myself every morning, and the older I get, the more it's a non-negotiable, to the point that I will return phone calls when I'm done with my self-care routine in the morning. So what that looks like after my son, he's in high school, after he gets off to school, I do yoga every single day, 7 days a week. I meditate 7 days a week, keep a gratitude journal and write 10 things I'm grateful for every morning, and just really spend time going within and getting centered, because this real estate career, it's not cut and dry. It's not the same thing every day. It's 100% different every single day. And I could be nice and quiet, and suddenly 10 people are reaching out for 10 different things. And, it can be very ungrounding. So I find it mandatory to start my day just extremely, extremely centered. And also making sure that I'm bonding and communicating with my family members every day. That's super important. Like, even though my son is in travel soccer, we have sit down meals, sit down dinner. Every dinner is sitting together around the table, even if that means it's at 10:15 at night. That family time is super important.
Good. And I think that's important too. I mean, that's the same thing with my kids. No matter what, I try and get them down, whether it be around their little play table. Again, mine are much younger than yours, 9, 6, and 16 months. But again, I think more that family atmosphere, right? It helps keep us, right, parents, from going cuckoo, right? We need it, right? It helps us all. And I know also for the viewers, Amy is not a fan of Disney. She doesn't like Disney at all.
She blasphemy.
Amy has she's opening up a new location in the castle in Disney.
I wish.
She's had a second residence there now.
I wish.
But I know that's one of your things too, that grounds you, right? Is enjoying time off, right, and time for yourself. So it goes to show you.
Yeah.
But that's part of it, right?
Oh, it is. It is. Yeah. So my fiance Tim and I are Disney obsessed, and I have no shame in letting the whole world know, because it's the greatest place on earth. So yeah, we go at least once every month or two, and I'm trying to be conscious that I have extremely strong working habits. One might call it workaholism, but so I know that I need to shut down sometimes in order to be able to pour from a full cup for people. So yes, we go to Disney, and that's one place that, I let my clients know I'm going out of town for a couple days, and I have backup people to help if anybody needs anything while I'm gone. And I just go, and my inner child has a blast, and I come back restored. That's
awesome. Like I said, there's 100 ways to do it. Everyone's way is different. So
yeah.
So through your entrepreneurial journey,
yes,
what is the biggest lesson that you've learned? So obviously you've done a lot, but you've done a lot in real estate. What's the one thing that's kind of stuck with you? Good or bad, doesn't matter. but what's something that's kind of stuck with you through your career?
You know, again, showing up, this is going to be a kind of conflicting answer.
No,
Showing up every day, even when people aren't looking. I mean, especially like I'm in my home and I work from home 99.9% of the time. I mean, obviously not when I'm showing property. So, you know, it could be very easy to not show up every day. But I actually, even if I don't have clients, I'm up and I'm dressed and I'm in the mindset and I'm showing up every day. So that's important. But also, you know, as I age, setting healthy boundaries is extremely important. And I've really excelled in that in the last year in not answering those text messages that come in at 10 p.m. or 6 a.m. And I haven't lost business because of it. And I've gained more self-respect. So I think one thing, if I could tell a younger agent, you don't have to be on 24/7, because if you are, you're going to burn out. You know, create. You want to have a generous amount of time to be available to your clients, especially in this industry, because some people need to see homes on evenings and weekends. But make sure that you have some boundaries set for yourself so that you just don't extinguish yourself, literally.
I think that's great. I mean, I'm the worst person at it. I feel like I always have bags under my eyes because I'm always working too much. But again, I think there's a point in our lives where, like you said, we get to a point where we recognize we can't do that forever. We're sure as a say the word, it's a wrong word to use, young person, but young in your career, you're willing to sacrifice, right? No matter what age you're at, you're willing to do that sacrifice. So you can get to a point where, like you said, you can have mindfulness, which I think is absolutely huge. I'm terrible with it. I can't just be in one place ever at one time. Usually at 10 different places in my mind.
Your poor soul.
That's why I love the podcast. So like I do my best to try and be mindful and be present and be in the moment.
Yeah.
But I live in, 10 different universes, juggling 10 different bottles. But with that said, when you're doing all that and when you had to start your career, how did you keep your emotional and financial parts of the business intact? Was it always going to Disney for you? Was it figuring out different ways to approach it? How did you work on balancing all of that? Because again, like you said, you have 2 kids, you were doing these jobs. Like, in your mind, what were you building? What kind of mind palace did you build to keep yourself sane?
I think at that point it was just necessity, and there was nothing else. I wasn't receiving funding from my children's father, and there just wasn't a second option. I mean, that first year was the opposite of self-care. It was Star was in elementary school, Phoenix was in preschool 9 hours a day, and then I'm showing houses with a 3-year-old in tow, and we had split custody, and every second they weren't with their dad at night, I was working. Weekends, I missed the weekends for the better part of a year because I had to work, but I had to, and I was so determined to find success in real estate so that I could let those other things go and be present with my kids. And within the first year I was able to, which is rare. That's not very common. So I slept about 4 hours a night that first year, every night. It was rough, but when you have your children as the reason that you're motivated to do something, you get it done.
Now looking back, because now I have to ask, looking back at it all, do you look at back and say, wow, it was worth it because of what it's provided you or given you the ability to have? Or was it not worth it? Because that's also a fair option too,
Yeah, no, I mean, it was 100% worth it because I don't know how I would have survived otherwise. Real estate, once you plug in and do it well, can be very well providing for your family. So I have proudly been able to take care of my kids now for, I guess it's been about 14 years that I've been I say a single mom. Again, I have a fiance now, but the kids are my financial responsibility. And I think sometimes life throws you these curveballs that feel really, really super hard. You have to go sometimes through these really heavy times to find your strength and your power. And that time definitely was one of those for me. But, I learned how to be a successful businesswoman through that because I had to.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for it. No regrets.
Strong times create strong women, right? And
yeah.
It sounds like that's what you did. You stepped up to the plate and you got it done. So community involvement. I know you talked about Grandma's Place. How much of that plays a role in your day-to-day and what you're looking to do? Because obviously, like all things aside, I think you're on the board of directors, if I remember correctly, for Grandma's Place. Helps kids in foster emergency situations. I know you're part of other organizations as well. As a real estate agent, how does that affect you? How does that work with you? How do you deal with that? Because again, you're always on, right? So you're trying to keep your balance, but you also want to help nonprofits. You want to help, especially children. We all want to help the children.
Yeah. Yes. Well, Grandma's Place kind of runs in an annual cycle, and we're in the busy season right now. And I'm not gonna lie, it's keeping me a little bit busy. So we have every November we do an annual holiday, a luncheon and an auction where it's our biggest fundraising event of the year. We are that's going to be held November 18th, and so yes, I'm on the board, which we meet throughout the year, but then I'm also on the committee. And the committee, we start meeting, probably our first meeting is in June, and then it's a lot of getting donations from community members. And thank you to our NLX business group for donations, and to you, Rudy, and your lodge as well. And it definitely keeps me incredibly busy. And then this year for the luncheon, I'm also one of the two co-chairs. And so, yeah, I would say I'm in a season where it feels a little off balance, where it is taking up a lot of my time. But again, I really believe in energy moving forward. I always say that. And, whether it's real estate energy, whether it's charitable energy, I just think every time we put ourselves forward and we're trying to help people and do good, the universe gives it back to us. And so I'm just grateful to be able to be a part of Grandma's Place. Really is the only charity that just for clarification, that I'm a part of right now. I used to also lead a team with Gold Coast Down syndrome, but again, looking at balance, I had to let that one go. Though that is also near and dear to my heart.
No, but again, you sometimes we have to give less to give more, right? You have to take
correct.
A step forward. So
yeah,
if you're not feeling, and I think you're one of those people who, if you're not giving 100%, you don't want to give part of yourself, because it's not fair to everybody else, right?
Oh, no. I only know how to give at a very high level. So if somebody says, oh, can't you just do this little piece? I know I can't just do this little piece, because I will have to do a really big piece. And so I've learned over the years to say no, which is, I think as you age, becomes easier.
Oh, it does. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Well, when you say it to your children, 30,000 times per day, you learn that it's easy to start saying. The default word is no, and yes becomes the thing that happens every once in a while.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So where do you see the real estate industry in the next 5 to 10 years in Florida?
That is an interesting question. And again, you really need a crystal ball to answer these questions. Florida, no matter what happens throughout the rest of the country, Florida's a pretty transient state. People like to move into our state. So, I really can't answer that in regards to like AI and how things could change in that way, because I don't know. I'm not an AI tech person, so I can't answer that. But I think Florida is always going to be a popular place for people to move into. Even though the market's been a little slower, we still have new construction going up like crazy. People just love Florida. It's a dream for a lot of people around the country to be able to come to Florida, and I can't see that ending anytime soon.
Agreed. And again, as Orlando builds bigger, because that is just getting bigger, Ocala is growing exponentially, and we'll call it our second horse capital of the world, next to Wellington and Northern Virginia. Right. I see hopefully great things. So that's fair to say.
Yeah.
Projects, anything on the horizon that you have that you're working on, any big things that maybe the world would love to know about, a little sneak peek into something that you could give us a little behind the curtain on, maybe some wonderful big exciting news or anything?
I see where you're headed with this. Yes, I'm getting married.
Okay, that's exciting. I like that.
In Disney.
And who would have thought that would be I didn't think that. When Mickey called, I just said that can't be possible. I don't think
Oh my God. Yeah. So that is exciting. We are not planning the wedding until February 2027. And this kind of goes into self-care and pacing. And that I know if I were to plan something in 6 months, that would take a lot of energy, and I would feel depleted, and I wouldn't be able to give the energy that I give to the different buckets in my life. So we are savoring the process. We're going nice and slow, and we're really just enjoying, as we go to Disney every month or two, we keep going to different wedding venue location. We're just really making it a fun and wonderful time. But I have a second thing coming up as well. Actually launching next Tuesday, November 11th. Tim and I, my fiance, we're starting our own podcast called Our Life is a Honeymoon. And it is all about relationships and building healthy relationships.
That's awesome. And you said you're starting that next Tuesday. Are you two working on that together? Are you getting guest hosts, or what's kind of the format of it?
Yeah, no, we are working on it together. It came to be, I believe in constant self-growth, self-improvement. So I'm big in therapy, hypnotherapy, all of that. And we have a couple of therapists that we don't see her often, but we like maintenance because we want to be the healthiest version of ourselves in all ways. And so we had a session with her, and she's renowned. She's written books. She speaks all over the country. Like she's a bigwig. And she said, you two really need to start a podcast together. Your relationship is so beautiful, and you just do so many things that the world needs to hear. At this point, it's really just us. We're not bringing in guests at this point. And, we're just breaking down different things that we do, different healthy things that we do to keep our relationship thriving. Because it really does feel like we're on a constant honeymoon. Like, our life is so much fun and we get along so well, but it's because we put a lot of work into it.
That's really awesome. That's exciting.
Yeah.
And that's, it's what everyone should strive for. That's really awesome. I'm excited to see it. I can't wait.
Yeah.
And do you have the hashtag or anything? Do you want to plug it in now?
Well, you mean like on Instagram?
Yeah, on Instagram or anything. Do you have anything set up yet? Just so as the viewers may want to look at it?
Yeah, we don't. There's very little up there, but on Instagram, it's Our Life is a Honeymoon Official.
Okay.
Because somebody had Our Life is a Honeymoon and they would not give it up, and they only had one follower, but they wouldn't give it up. So
of course
it's
not.
official. And we also have a Facebook account by the same name as well. And we will be on Spotify as well, and all your podcasting services, and YouTube as well. So it's coming out November 11th, very, very soon.
That's really cool. That's next week, Veterans Day.
Yeah,
awesome.
I know. We got a lot to do to finish our final edits, but yep.
Now, since we're talking about plugging, so how do they find you as a real estate agent, though? So how do we find Considine Homes? How do we find that as well? Instagram, Facebook?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are my main two. Instagram and Facebook under Considine Homes. That's it.
That's simple.
Yeah,
look at that.
pretty
Very
easy.
Very nice.
Yeah.
There's always one question I always leave to the end to ask people who come on. Again, really hard hitting. Since this has been really hard hitting so far, right?
I think that's a joke.
It's a joke. It is a joke.
Yeah.
When it comes to meeting one person and asking them one question, anybody in the world, either dead or alive, that you could ask, if you could ask them one question, only one person, who would it be and what would the question be?
What? I don't have that answer. There is not one person that I want to ask a question to. That is a crazy... Give me another one.
Well, that's the one. Everyone gets it at the end.
Wow. And people have a quick answer for that?
You'd be surprised who the answers that I get from people are range very interestingly.
Wow.
Everybody has a very different mindset. Typically, again, it's not meant to catch people off guard, but at the same time, it's to invoke the most genuine response possible, right? Because it's not something you can plan for. It's just one of those, who is the first person that pops into your head? And that's usually the person that, people say is the person. It could be a celebrity. It could be somebody close to you. It could be anybody in the world.
Well, okay. So, I don't really have a question, but I guess I would get to meet the person if I had a question and I was going to ask it. So I'm going to say Stevie Nicks. She's the first person that came to my head, and I love her. I've loved her since I was probably 12 years old, and her music has just been, and Fleetwood Mac, their music has just been a part of my life and my life stories and my memories, and I think she's an amazing human, and so I would just like to have lunch with her. That would be amazing.
That's a good one. I like Fleetwood Mac is great as well. So music is wonderful, and her voice is outstanding. There's not many people. I think she still tours also. I think she's
I know. She's I think she's 75 now. I know.
Yeah. It's amazing. I can't sing in the shower, never mind trying to sing at 74 years old. So
Yeah.
Hats off to her.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Amy, I really appreciate you coming on today. Thank you so much for taking the time. It was really exciting to hear about your journey, hear about all the fun and exciting things that you have going on. And,
thank you.
Again, if you have any other things that you'd like to, add on for the viewers, please let us know. But other than that, that's all she wrote.
Yeah, Rudy, thank you so much. This was an honor. I had a lot of fun.
Good. Let me do this.
Appreciate it.